Imagine for a second that the giant corporate machine responsible for bottling literally every single drop of your Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Mirinda, and Sting energy drink suddenly decided that making soft drinks just wasn't cutting it anymore. What if they woke up one day and decided to make a massive billion-rupee leap into the world of hard liquor and cocktails? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down an absolutely massive, high-stakes piece of business news. It's one of the biggest, most surprising corporate diversifications in retail history, and it's happening right now.
I know exactly what you're probably thinking. It sounds like a total 180-degree turn, doesn't it? For a family-run soda bottler to suddenly launch a liquor brand, it honestly sounds like a completely random gamble, or maybe some late-night brainstorming idea that went way, way too far. It's kind of like finding out your favorite local bakery is suddenly going to start manufacturing sports cars. But this exact corporate earthquake just shook Dalal Street. Billionaire Ravi Jaipuria's company, Varun Beverages, has officially decided to completely upend the market. They're making a massive pivot, and they're doing it with a level of strategic brilliance that we absolutely need to unpack today.
Section 1. The Billion Rupee Gamble.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What we're looking at here is fundamentally a masterclass in supply chain dominance. And it all kicked off with a landmark regulatory filing. In a major disclosure to the stock exchanges, the board of directors over at Varun Beverages Limited, you'll usually see them on the stock market as VBL, officially approved the creation of a brand new subsidiary called Kiva Spirits and Company Limited. Now, this is what's known as a wholly owned subsidiary. That simply means Varun Beverages owns 100% of this new venture. They are taking on all the risk, but of course, keeping all the potential reward. They're launching this with an initial authorized share capital of 10 crore rupees and a paid-up equity capital of 9 crore rupees. Actually, let's translate that. Paid-up equity basically just means the actual cold hard cash the parent company has already deposited into the bank account to get things moving. And this new corporate arm has one very specific, very purposeful goal: to manufacture, market, and distribute premium spirits and ready-to-drink alcoholic beverages. Now, they aren't just throwing a bunch of money at a wall to see what sticks. No, they are bringing in the absolute best talent to run the show. To lead this high-stakes offensive, Varun Beverages pulled off a massive talent coup. They appointed a major industry veteran, Prathmesh Mishra, as the chief executive officer and managing director of Kiva Spirits. Mishra is the former managing director of Diageo Korea and Japan, and crucially, he's the former chairman of the Royal Challengers Bangalore franchise. So why on earth does a soda company need an alcohol veteran? Well, because selling soda is an entirely different beast than selling liquor. The alcohol industry is notorious for its complex laws, intense taxes, and crazy distribution hurdles. Without a seasoned expert who has spent literally decades surviving and thriving in the liquor business, a soda company would just be eaten alive.
Section 2. The Distribution Juggernaut. Before we get too far into the actual mechanics of Kiva's Spirits, let's make sure we have our baseline facts straight. Who exactly is Varun Beverages? How do they become such a darling on the stock market? And why is their distribution network so legendary? Well, Varun Beverages is the flagship company of the RJ Corp conglomerate, which was founded by billionaire Ravi Jaipuriya. And for nearly 30 years, they've been operating as the premier bottling partner for the American beverage giant PepsiCo. But the most crucial thing to remember here is this staggering number: 90%. Today, VBL is one of the largest franchise bottlers in the entire world outside the United States. They literally produce, bottle, and distribute roughly 90% of all PepsiCo beverages sold across India. Over the last decade, they've built what is essentially an unbeatable competitive advantage: a massive nationwide distribution network. We are talking about direct, daily relationships with over 3 million retail grocery stores, corner pawn shops, and supermarkets. No matter how remote a village in India might be, I guarantee you a Varun Beverages delivery truck probably reaches it, bringing cold drinks to the farthest corners of the country.
So, when a company masters the art of cold distribution at that kind of massive scale, why jump into the alcohol market? The answer is the sheer, mind-boggling size of Indian consumer demand. The alcoholic beverages market in India is an absolute juggernaut. To put this into perspective, the country consumes over 1,100 million cases of alcohol every single year. Let that sink in. Over 1 billion cases. That is a staggering volume of liquid that has to move through the supply chain. And this massive demand is split pretty heavily between traditional Indian-made foreign liquor, which is your standard whiskeys and rums, and of course, a huge market for beer. Let's use a super simple, real-world analogy to brilliantly illustrate the hidden engine behind this entire pivot. Imagine for a second that you run a massive, ultra-modern delivery fleet. You've got thousands of refrigerated vans driving down every single street in the country every morning. Right now, your vans are dropping off refreshing fruit juices and sodas.
You make a steady, reliable little profit on every bottle. But then you start to notice something. Right next door to almost every grocery store you deliver to, there sits a licensed beverage outlet, and consumers are lining up to buy premium drinks at 5 to 10 times the price of your soda. Alcoholic beverages command significantly higher profit margins than basic carbonated soft drinks. So you realize, wait a minute, if you simply use your existing fleet, your existing cold storage warehouses, and your vast supply chain expertise to deliver premium drinks to those licensed outlets right next door, your revenue and your profitability could absolutely explode.
Section 3. The Kiva Spirits Playbook. Let's see how they actually did it.
Historically, foreign soda companies strictly forbade their bottling partners from ever touching alcohol. It was a massive no-no. So how is Varun Beverages getting away with this? Well, the cause and effect loop driving this massive expansion was unlocked by a crucial behind-the-scenes legal breakthrough between Varun Beverages and PepsiCo. For years, PepsiCo maintained these very strict exclusivity clauses. In plain English, an exclusivity clause basically meant that if you bottled beverages for Pepsi, you legally weren't allowed to make or sell anything else for anyone else. You were 100% exclusive to them. However, recent contract updates completely removed those operational restrictions. This was a quiet but absolutely monumental change. It gave Varun Beverages the ultimate green light to diversify into non-PepsiCo beverage segments. The legal handcuffs were officially off, and the company was finally free to chase those much higher alcohol profits.
Section 4. What are RTDs? With the legal freedom to finally expand, VBL shows a very specific, highly strategic target for Kiva Spirits. They aren't just going out and making standard whiskey or plain vodka. No, they are targeting a highly lucrative, rapidly expanding category. The primary operational focus of Kiva Spirits centers entirely on ready-to-drink alcoholic beverages, which you'll often hear abbreviated as RTD beverages. So what exactly is an RTD? Think about it this way. Instead of buying a full, expensive bottle of hard spirits and then having to buy separate tonic waters, slicing up fresh lemons and mixing a cocktail in a glass at home, an RTD beverage does all of that work for you. It's a pre-mixed, low-alcohol drink packaged in a sleek aluminum can or a glass bottle. We're talking about things like a flavored gin and tonic, a hard seltzer, or a pre-mixed vodka cooler. As consumer habits are changing, the demand for these premium, low-alcohol RTDs is just surging. It is currently the fastest-growing alcoholic beverage segment among young, urban, entry-level consumers. Why? Because they want convenience, they want lower calorie counts, drinks that are super easy to carry to a party, and refreshing flavors without that heavy, intimidating burn of traditional hard liquor.
Now, to execute this massive transition into RTDs without completely stumbling, remember that massive talent coup we mentioned earlier? Bringing in Prathmesh Mishra was absolutely no accident. Mishra is a heavyweight in the liquor industry. He brings over 30 years of commercial leadership from global alcohol giants like Diageo and Pernod Ricard. During his 7 years as Chief Commercial Officer of Diageo India, he mastered the art of navigating complex state excise regulations. If you don't know what those are, they're basically a nightmare of complicated, ever-changing state taxes, licensing rules, and crazy laws governing exactly how alcohol can be transported and sold across different parts of India. Navigating that red tape is brutal for beginners, but for him, it's second nature. Plus, his high-profile stint as chairman of Royal Challengers Bangalore gave him unparalleled experience in sports marketing, youth lifestyle branding, and modern entertainment integration. And guess what? That is exactly how you sell trendy RTD beverages to a young urban demographic.
And hey, if you think Kiva Spirits was just some sudden overnight decision, you'd be wrong. Industry insiders point out that this is actually just one piece of a very meticulously planned puzzle. Let's walk through their strategy step by step. Step 1. Late last year, Varun Beverages signed a distribution partnership with the global brewing giant Carlsberg over in Africa. This was widely viewed as a test run, a way to quietly learn alcohol logistics. Step 2. Reports surfaced that RG Corp explored acquiring an equity stake in the incredibly popular craft beer maker Bira 91. Step 3. They finally take the plunge and launch Kiva Spirits domestically in India. And simultaneously, Step 4, they cleared an international expansion in Tunisia to produce soft drinks and dairy. They have literally been systematically studying every single corner of the alcohol space. This timeline proves that while they enter alcohol at home, their global non-alcoholic engine continues to expand at record speed. It is a calculated, deliberate master plan.
Section 5. The impact on your weekend.
So let's answer the ultimate question for everyone watching this explainer right now. So what?
How does a giant Pepsi bottler launching an alcohol company actually alter your weekend shopping, the consumer goods market, and retail stock portfolios? Let's bring this right back to your daily life. First, let's talk about everyday consumers. Over the next 12 to 24 months, you are going to see a massive explosion of brand new, high-quality, ready-to-drink cocktails, flavored alcoholic coolers, and craft beverages appearing on store shelves and at licensed venues near you. And here is the absolute best part. Because Varun Beverages already owns the delivery trucks, they already own the canning factories, and they possess literally decades of expertise in flavor chemistry and carbonation, they don't have to spend millions building a supply chain from scratch. Kiva Spirits already has the scale to deliver premium-tasting canned cocktails at far more accessible and competitive price points than those tiny boutique craft startups could ever dream of. Basically, you get better drinks for way less money.
Second, look at the intense competitive shakeup heading straight toward the Indian liquor industry. Historically, the Indian alcohol market has been heavily dominated by legacy foreign conglomerates, companies like Diageo-owned United Spirits and Pernod Ricard, alongside major beer makers like United Breweries and Carlsberg. To put it simply, these are the massive companies behind the famous traditional whiskeys, rums, and beers you've seen sitting behind the bar for decades. But here's the thing. Those legacy players often rely heavily on traditional wholesale distribution channels that just haven't changed in years. So when an agile, deep-pocketed supply chain monster like Varun Beverages enters the field, backed by proven industry veterans, it forces all these existing legacy brands to sweat. Big time. They now have to innovate faster, upgrade their packaging, and invest heavily in modern, ready-to-drink options just to keep up.
Finally, for the stock market investors out there, or really anyone following retail economics, this is an incredibly important strategic evolution for Varun Beverages. By opening up alcoholic beverages alongside its massive soft drink business, VBL is creating a powerful new revenue stream that brings in so much more profit per bottle. But more importantly, it acts as a corporate shield. It protects their profits against seasonal weather swings. Think about it. Soda sales naturally drop in the winter, but people drink alcohol year-round. It also creates a safety net against inflation. If raw sugar prices suddenly go up and make soda way more expensive to produce, the alcohol margins can balance the books. And crucially, it acts as a strategic backup plan, or a hedge, against health-conscious consumer shifts. If people slowly stop buying sugary sodas for health reasons, the company still makes great money from the booming alcohol division. This diversification perfectly positions the company for long-term compound growth.
Section 6. The final takeaway.
To wrap this all up, let's summarize this fascinating chapter in corporate strategy. Varun Beverages' creation of Kiva Spirits is a landmark move that completely redefines their future as a company. By bringing in former Diageo leader Prathmesh Mishra, they have successfully merged a world-class distribution powerhouse with the rapidly growing, highly profitable world of ready-to-drink alcohol. By leveraging their existing manufacturing and massive logistics capabilities, the company isn't just dipping their toes into a new market, they are perfectly positioned to capture and dominate the next generation of Indian beverage consumers. So now that the massive machine behind your favorite soft drinks is officially entering the alcohol business, I have a question for you. Are you excited to try these new ready-to-drink canned cocktails from Kiva Spirits, or are you going to stick to your traditional beverages? Let us know. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch this unfold on store shelves over the coming year. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.